Hey guys, this is Belle. Check out my interview with Logan star Doris Morgado. Hello.
Hi, Bella.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
Of course, I love your Wolverine shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you been?
All right. Well, should we get going with some questions?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Now, you played the role of Maria in the film, which is part of the Wolverine trilogy. What can you tell me more about the film and your role?
Well, the film was more so about the character and the life of the I would say like Wolverine, but also like X-23. And if you saw the movie, like they have the little kids who they're doing the experiments on, which is the same thing that happened to Logan. They did those experiments on him. And so my character, Maria, was one of the caretakers. She was a nurse and one of the caretakers of the kids who we later start finding out that, what they're doing is atrocities to them. And so in certain parts of the movie, we start trying to treat them more as children rather than mutants. And, the doctors and everyone doesn't like that because they're considered weapons. And so at some point, we try to help them escape the facility that they're in.
Yeah. And you pretended to be X-23's or Laura's mom during the first part of the movie?
I didn't try to pretend to be her mom, but I was very nurturing to her and to the other children because they didn't have the parents there. So that was like one of my things because I saw like the conditions that they were living in, and so I took on that maternal instinct with them.
And how was it working with Daphne?
It was so much fun working with her. She is such a lovely, talented, and sweet young lady, and she speaks Spanish, and so do I. So we got to talk in Spanish on set for a while too.
Yeah. And how did you end up getting the role for Maria?
Well, my agent got the audition sent out to them, and I had to put myself on tape for them because they were already filming in New Orleans at the time. They had already started like a lot of the pre-production, so I had to put myself on tape and send it over to the producers, and from there they let James Mangold, the director, see it, and so once he saw it, he picked me.
And what was it about the role that drew you to the film?
So I'm a huge Marvel comic book fan. I have two older brothers.
Me too.
Yeah. So growing up, they would always watch all the Wolverine, X-Men, and even like when we would play video games, it was always Marvel, like the X-Men. That's like the video games that we would play. So I either had to play by myself or start liking X-Men, and so I did. So once I saw the opportunity to be able to work on a film that was a Marvel comic book film, I was just like, oh my god, yes, please.
And who was your favorite character growing up?
My favorite character was Storm because I related a lot to her growing up. Like I said, I speak Spanish, so growing up, my mom would always have us watch Spanish television, and when I saw the X-Men, she looked like me. She had like my skin complexion, and then on top of that, she was like super cool because she could control the weather. And I was like, oh my god, I am Storm. I still have one of the playing cards that I got when I was I think like 8 or 9. I found a playing card of Storm, and I still have it to this day because it was like my inspiration.
Did you ever think that you would be a part of the Marvel universe?
To be honest with you, it was one of those things where I didn't think about it. on a regular basis, but I do have I call it a vision board. So I have a board in my house where I have just goals that I want to accomplish. And one of the goals that I had was I had the logo of Marvel. So I was like, one way or another, he's going to be there. So I wasn't consciously thinking about it, but I walk by it every single day and see it, and I subconsciously, I guess, I was calling it.
And what was your reaction to getting the part in Logan?
It was a bit of awe and then disbelief because it's such a huge thing, and especially it was just like a combination of things because it was, Logan and it was Old Man Logan. It was working with James Mangold, and it was just all these things that were so surreal. My reaction when I first got an email from my agent saying, "Hey, they're asking me for dates if they're going to work for you," which means that they have an interest in you, but they haven't yet said that you got the part. So that was already like my nerves started going off. Like, yes, I'm available whenever they need me. Like, you just say yes. And then it took like a week and I didn't hear anything. And, I try not to like think too much about it because I go to auditions a lot. So I don't want to like make myself too nervous. And then she finally sent me the email. And I just like started jumping up and down. I was screaming and was like kicking up in the air.
Did you celebrate after you found out you got the part?
Yes, I love to eat. So, so my celebration involved food. So I went with my family, yeah, and we went to a restaurant that I really like. It's a Korean barbecue, and that's how we celebrated by getting a full belly.
Did you have to do any stunt work or prep work for the role?
There was light stunt work in the movie, the scene where all the kids are being let out of their cells and we're rushing with them. And that was like pretty much the extent of the stunt that they had to do with this running. But I still did take a huge fall. And actually, you're the first one that I get to tell this to.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't, an exclusive. I couldn't tell anyone else because the movie hadn't come out yet, so I couldn't release that stuff. But the scene where all the kids get out, we were having all the kids run out, and I was running behind them, like kind of pushing them. And there was this one little boy who was really small, and so he kept getting left behind, and we kept having to do the takes over and over again. And I just said, "Hey, why don't I pick him up and carry him?" They're like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." So we did the first take, and I pick him up, and I'm running. And as soon as I turned the corner, one of the other nurses that was coming behind me hit my foot, and I just went face first, but I had the kid with me. So I just tucked and like just landed on my knee and on my shoulder to protect him, and I slid down. And then everyone just froze and was like, "Oh my God." They came up to me like, "Are you okay?" And I just was like holding him, and I just started crying. I was just like, "Please tell me he is okay." And they're like, "Yeah, he's fine." And I was just like, I started bawling. They're like, "Don't worry, he's okay." And I was like, "Oh my God, I thought he was gonna die." And I let him go, like I couldn't brace myself. Yeah, so that was got a good bruise on my knee, but everything was all right.
And would that be considered one of the hardest scenes to film?
I would say one of the physically for that one, yes. There was another scene, and I think from what Mangold said, it's going to be on the director's cut because that one didn't make the movie because the movie ran too long. But it was a scene where I actually get captured and I'm being interrogated, and that one was it was just the difficulty of it was just like high emotions because they had captured me and they had also were threatening me and my mom, and they were saying like they were going to kill everyone if I didn't tell them where the kids were. So just as an actress, like having to put myself in that position and through all the imaginary work of the character being like, man, what do I choose? Do I choose for my mom to live and have all these kids get killed, or vice versa?
And what is something about being on the film like Logan that most people would not expect?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What is something about being on the film that most people would not expect?
Um, I think it's the friendliness and the great vibes that are on set. I think because the movie has so much action and then it also has a lot of sad moments and such big actors as well that sometimes maybe people feel like, oh, I bet everyone's stuck up or I bet everyone doesn't talk to like other people. And it's a complete opposite. Everyone is nice and sweet and fun. And then on top of that, you know, no matter who you're working with, the level of respect that every actor has for each other is tremendous. And I think that's something that I get asked a lot. That was a very good question. People are like, oh, how is it working with such good actors? And I was like, it's amazing because they're nice and they're great actors on top of that. So it makes work doing set fun and rewarding.
And shooting scenes, but like every scene that you can expect to see in a film like Logan or the other X-Men movies, what is the vibe like on the set?
What is the vibe on the set?
Yeah.
Um, Obviously there's certain scenes, for example, like the ones where like the kids were running that had a lot of action stuff, and like there was another one where like the kid had to, kid jump off a building and things like that. That one, even though it's still very relaxed atmosphere, there is a heightened sense of responsibility for everyone who's doing the choreography because you could have accidents where someone can get hurt, especially those scenes were with a lot of kids. So you had just a lot more eyes on everything that was going on, making sure that everything was the code so nothing would happen or no one would get hurt. The other ones where it was the interrogation was a little bit more laid back because the kids weren't there and there wasn't really any stunt work going into it. So it was more about the lives of the characters.
Alrighty. And what was it like working with actors like and being in the same film as Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, and Stephen Merchant?
It was a dream come true, I have to say. First, Logan turned out to be such a huge movie. It was so highly anticipated and it was so character driven, which makes it even better because you have the action element, but then you have the lives of the mutants and they're viewed as humans as we are, just that they're a little bit different than us. And I think getting a chance to be able to see not only the action part being filmed, but also and being a part of it, but also like the more deep scenes where it's like character driven and just like very heartfelt was just beautiful because you see the actor shine even more.
And who did you hit it off with the most on the set?
I wouldn't say it was across the board. I think everyone, and it was just one of those things. Like Richard, most of my scenes were with him, and he's such a lovely actor and human being. Daphne was sweet, so I don't think there was just like one person who stood out more than the other because everyone was there to come together and make a great film. So there was no ego, there was no I'm here and you're over there. It was all about, hey, we're all great actors and we're all gonna come together to do something beautiful for the fans and it kind of just played like that through all the days on set.
And did you have a total fangirl moment when you first met the cast?
I did, but I didn't show it. It's one of those things like you walk in to your trailer and they bring you in to get your hair and makeup and then they bring you to your trailer and I think once you get to your trailer they have your contract for you to sign and that was like my moment of like geeking out and just like super excited and then it was like, all right, now calm down, you're here to work, let's get it. So yeah, that moment does come, but it's always more in private because once you're on set, you're expected to be on, ready to go. There's, no time to wait. So you don't know if you're going to get there and wait another hour before you go on set, or get there and then hurry up, put your mic on. All right, you're going over there. The scene's about to start, and you're, all disoriented. So once that contract's signed, I he's out, and then I'm like, all right, now to work.
And how long did it take to film your scenes?
I was in New Orleans for 2.5 weeks in total. So yeah, and I left the day right after I finished my last scene.
Okay. Do you have any fun stories to tell about your time on the set?
Besides that great fall that I had,
Yeah, apart from that.
I would say the other stuff was just like after all those scenes, after they were cut, just the camaraderie between all the actors, seeing that it was such a high stakes scene, and it was like so much going on with the kids, and we were all supposed to be so serious, and they were supposed to hate the kids, and we're trying to save the kids. But once they were cut, it was just like a lot of laughter and joy, and we had to improvise with the kids. So we were in a room where they had a lot of toys, and we joked around with them and things like that to get the kids at a certain level to feel comfortable and happy.
And what is it about Logan that stands out from the rest of the X-Men and Wolverine franchise films that will make fans want to see the film?
Well, I think it's what I mentioned. The Logan is such a character-driven movie. I'm a huge fan of action movies, and even though this one had the action, it still had the family aspect and the live aspect of the X-Men of Logan and X-23. So I think that is something that is going to stand out. Apart from all the other movies, it was just the heartfelt, character-driven storyline.
If you could work with any of the actors that you worked with on Logan again, who would you pick?
I would say Daphne. I really enjoyed working with her. She's talented, but she's also so sweet and fun and professional, which is always a plus when working with children.
And you worked with actors like Denzel Washington, Mark Wahlberg, John Travolta, and Dwayne Johnson. What did you enjoy most about working with those guys?
Their personalities, I would say, is something that I enjoyed the most. I grew up watching and being a huge fan of The Rock and Dwayne Johnson and Denzel Washington, Mark Wahlberg. It's like growing up, I would always see their movies, and you never know what to expect when you go on set and when you're meeting such huge actors. And they are not only so funny, like especially Dwayne Johnson, he is hilarious. Like he's as big as he is, he's that big of a goofball and of joy. Like he's a ball of super joy. And so I think that I enjoy that about all of them. They made me feel welcome when I stepped on set, but at the same time, they were so nice and kind that any nerves that I might have had completely went out the window once I started talking to them.
Awesome. Is there an actor or actress that you would like to work with in other projects but haven't had the opportunity to yet?
I would say Vin Diesel would be one of those at the top of my list. Like I mentioned, I love working on action movies, and when he was up there with the whole action stuff. So he would be definitely one of those actors that I have my eyes set on to work with.
And you have done both films and TV. Do you prefer one over the other?
I would say film, just because growing up, my dad would always take us to watch movies. That was like he would have us on the weekends, and that was our thing. We would go to Pizza Hut, go to movies, and then go race car racing. So I grew up being at the movies and just the experience being able to sit down and like, see something at the big screen. I enjoy it, and I also enjoy the flexibility of being on a film set because you get to travel a little bit more and everything kind of changes like once you finish the film and you go on to the next project. Whereas a TV show, um, it's the same character, for however long the season goes. Now, don't get me wrong. If I get a TV show, I'm a series regular for 7 years, then I'm going to be super happy about it too.
I just had a question. Yeah. What was your favorite movie growing up? Apart from sorry, what was your other favorite movies growing up?
Other favorite movies. I would have to say they were the Disney movies. I love cartoons. I'm trying to think. I'm in between Beauty and the Beast and also the Pocahontas. I really like.
Mm-hmm.
So in between those two, and I think it gives just the strong women within the movies that I enjoy.
Okay. And do you enjoy the fan feedback on your work over social media?
Yeah, it's actually so nice and rewarding to get comments and people reaching out to me, especially on Instagram, which is one of the social media that I'm mostly active on. It's rewarding